We are live here with Dwight Richards of the
Hello,
Harlem
everyone.
Watch Company. And we are so very excited to have this amazing entrepreneur, thought leader on here today. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. Let's talk about the story of the Harlem Watch Company. I'm excited.
And I'm excited to be here with you, Ashley. Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome, for sure. Let's dive right in normal fashion. So,
All right.
what made you decide to start a watch company?
Well, the short, funny answer is by
Yes.
accident. By
Okay.
accident. Okay. Now, let me expound on that.
Sure.
Um, I was born and raised in Harlem. I moved to California for over 20 years.
Wow.
And over the past year, I just moved back. Okay.
Okay.
And just in time for COVID and everything shut down,
Right.
as you know. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so one of the things I was doing to keep myself up is my exercise is cycling. So
Okay.
I would cycle from where I'm staying here in Harlem to Central Park and back.
Nice.
This one fateful day, July 1st, 2020, I'm cycling and I got hit by a car.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
Um,
And you're okay.
so yes, I'm in recovery mode. I'm doing physical
Yeah.
therapy about 3 times a week. I've had a couple surgeries. Yeah. So that happened. And let's see, after the very first surgery, um,
Mhm.
the idea of the watch company came to fruition.
Mhm.
So, I was thinking about, me being back home,
Right.
um, thinking about my family, thinking about family
Mhm.
history and
Mhm.
my hometown's history. And I
Yes.
was also thinking about how much I love watches. And,
Yes.
you know, directly, it was November 13th. It was Friday the 13th that I had my first surgery. Yeah. And so I get home after the surgery and it just all, I mean, no sooner than I got on the bed to relax and do nothing,
Right.
it the idea came to me. Yeah, that was a very unusual
Wow.
place for me. The idea came
Yes.
to me. So I grabbed a notebook and just started
Mhm.
writing. That entire weekend, I was writing, putting strategy together, figuring out how to source everything. So the whole
Mhm.
plan came together that weekend in November 2020.
Wow. Just had a
Yeah,
surgery and then the idea hits you.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Don't say hit though.
So we don't want to say that. The idea, you were inspired.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
You were
Perfect.
inspired. Let's go.
Yes.
And so tell us, what is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur? And right
Um,
before we answer that question, we have Daria in the audience saying, hey, Ashley and Dwight, thank you so much for joining us. But yes, what is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
um, Creativity. It's
Yeah.
my creativity and I can take it any direction I want to. That's the thing I really love about entrepreneurship, the creativity.
For sure. Yeah, there's just so many avenues and so many ways to be creative when you're an entrepreneur. You got a little bit of your hands in a lot of things, not a little bit of things, a lot of things.
True,
There's a lot of
my goodness.
opportunities for that outlet.
Wearing lots of hats.
Yes,
Without
tons
a
of
doubt.
hats.
Without a doubt.
And so when we first met, we met on Clubhouse, right? And we met as
Yes.
I was hearing your story and hearing the story of the Harlem Watch Company. And one of
Yep.
the things that we connected on was the entrepreneurial experience, and specifically for the Harlem Watch Company, your experience. So, what is one thing about starting a watch company that even though you might have anticipated it, right, it was still a hurdle to overcome?
Yeah, the main hurdle, because my career has been in logistics. So I'm the guy
Yeah.
behind the scenes that makes things get to where they're supposed to be and get there on time and in good condition. So I'm
Yeah.
not behind the scenes guy. So I know how to operate, in that regard.
Mm.
But the thing that's still hard for me is timing. There's my
Okay.
timing, then there's everyone else's timing. Like, for
Right.
instance, my first batch of 1,000 watches. I had
Mhm.
a promise date that they were going to ship. That promise date didn't happen. Then another date
Mm.
was set, and that date didn't happen. And so, yeah, timing, timing.
Yeah.
Essentially having to depend on other people's timing.
Right. When you're so used to managing it, getting it done, it
Yes.
is definitely different when you're having to rely on someone else's timeline, especially when it comes to, a watch company, right? It's kind of ironic.
And yeah, time is important to me for sure.
It is. Time is money. Time is everything.
Oh,
And so, why was it important for you? Talking a little bit more about branding and some of the elements of the watches of the Harlem Watch Company. Why was it important for you to include family and history in your brand
mm.
story?
Um, because like I mentioned, I had left Harlem for 20 some odd years and I just got back. So, and I got back and realized that we have 6 generations living here in Harlem.
Wow.
6 generations. And I'm a third generation Harlemite.
Mhm.
And and we still have, and it pleases me so much to say it each and every time, my grandmother, who's 99 years old this year. Yes. And my
Yes.
mom. Yeah. So blessed. So it's so about family,
Right.
learning and realizing that we have 6 generations and loving that grandma is with us and loving, of course, that mom is with us. And
Yes.
the family aspect also is as I was in California, I
Mhm.
was coming back to New York for funerals. My dad, my grandfather, my brother, and and uncle. So I was only coming back for funerals. And that,
Mm.
that felt really bad,
Yeah.
coming for that, seeing everyone, always great. But then
Yes.
leaving and realizing that was the main reason I was here. So I figured, and with my wife, okay, babe, let's think about doing something different. We set a date and moved back. So we're here now, back in Harlem.
We want to extend our sympathies, Daria, extending our sympathies for the loss
Thank you.
and for the
Thank you.
losses that you've experienced. And we welcome you back to the East Coast.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so, what in your life pre Harlem Watch Company? We talked a little bit about logistics, but
Hmm.
what in your life before then prepared you most for the days ahead? What you up to this point, and then what you feel like are your next steps?
Yeah. Prior to Harlem Watch, I've always been, at the very least, a amateur inventor. So
Okay.
in logistics, trucking is involved, and
Yeah.
I've invented a couple things for the trucking industry, and I've just
Mm.
naturally been a problem solver.
Yes.
So those factors, factored into what I'm doing today, and overall, the experiences that I've had in those endeavors has helped me.
So if you could go back though and talk to yourself before you started, knowing what you know now with all of your
Ah,
experience, what would you say?
wow, that's a great question. A younger me. Um, as far as entrepreneurship, I would say
Yes.
stick to it. Stick to it. I would definitely tell myself and anyone out there right now, stick
Yes.
to it. Know what you want and stick to it. Because the longer you stick to it, the more you'll become an authority and have, you know, what's the word? Gravitas in regards to what you're doing and going forward.
For sure. Stick to it. That is the story of an entrepreneur, right? It's the
Yeah,
blessing that you have in hindsight.
right.
At the beginning, you don't know what's going to happen. You have
Nope.
plans, you have ambitions, you have
Yeah.
goals, but you're not sure.
Nope.
And now, when you've reached the post production, when you've reached
Hmm.
the finish line in the beginning of your journey, you have that foresight to stick to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, for young entrepreneurs and old, new to the entrepreneurship, what advice would you have to give in the space of selling a product, right?
Mm.
When they're
Yeah.
first starting out?
Learn your audience. Learn your audience. Figure out who your audience is. And, I was one of those early entrepreneurs that said everybody. It's never everybody.
Right.
Apple is doing great, it's doing billions, but it's not everybody. Okay, so no matter what your product is, it's not for everybody. You really have to, peel that onion back to figure out who your audience is, and it's A/B testing, it's talking to friends, but
Mhm.
absolutely going beyond friends. You have to go
Mhm.
beyond your friends, because a lot of
Yeah.
times your friends will tell you what you want to hear, but won't take action to
Right.
actually help your business grow. So you have to go beyond your friends to really figure out who your audience is.
So speaking of like the Apples, the TikToks, the people who've reached, this level, who are some of your mentors or some of the companies that you look up to, either within your industry or outside of it?
Um, that's another great question. I am modeling what I'm doing after Rolex.
Okay.
So Rolex started in the 60s and 70s, and their price range was in the $300
Mm-hmm.
range. Okay, and they had particular things that came along with each watch.
Mm-hmm.
I've researched that, learned about it, and that's what I'm doing with my watches. So
Okay.
it's unique packaging, and there are certain
Yeah.
things that come with each and every watch. And so, like numbering, for instance, and
Mm-hmm.
certification of the numbering. So every watch is an individual watch specifically assigned to individuals.
Interesting. Okay. Talk a little bit more about that. We want to know
All
what
right.
makes the Harlem Watch Company's watch unique.
All right. So, couple things back to family. So on
Sure.
each and every one of my watches, there by the number 4, there are two Ionic Greek columns. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and those represent the matriarchs of our family, grandma and mom,
Mm-hmm.
and they also represent longevity and strength. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's a design I built into every watch. And then
Yes.
also on the watch in the 6 hour position, I have the
Mm-hmm.
Mayan number 6. And
Yes.
I made it a unique number 6 because of the 6 generations that live here in Harlem. So again, I
Love
wanted to
that.
represent the family and our matriarchs. And that's, those are some of the things that go into each Harlem watch.
So exciting. So if you have not already heard about the Harlem Watch Company, this is a Harlem Watch Company is a company you need to be watching, right? A
Yeah.
company you need to be following and a company you need to be patronizing. And so last couple questions before we get into the rapid fire question round, which is one of my
All
favorite
right.
rounds. So what is next for the Harlem Watch Company?
What's next is very exciting to me. So we started with one watch. It's called the Traveler. And the Traveler pays homage to people who have helped Harlem become Harlem. So that means people far back as the Dutch who first incorporated Harlem. That means as far back as the 20s and 30s, the Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance, where people from the South made their way to Harlem to make it a new place, make it ours. So you think about Ella Fitzgerald, Duke Ellington, Langston Hughes, Adam Clayton Powell. All of those are travelers who have come here, come through
Yes.
here, and made a difference in Harlem. So that's the first watch right now, the Traveler, and we have a men's version and a women's version, and the next one under development. Drum roll, please.
Mm.
Is called the Brownstone.
Well, I
So
love that.
yes, and I'm working with the manufacturer right now, and we were figuring out colors and finalizing the
Yeah.
design. So I'm very, very excited about the next one called the Brownstone. I'm also working on a design for a watch called the Uptown. And as you
Yes.
think about Harlem and you think about going uptown, people were dressed to the T's. They were flossed out. So
Yes. All the
that's
way.
exactly what you're going to see in our uptown as it comes along.
Nice. Well, congratulations on these new developments. Can't wait to hear more, find out more. Again, follow him. We're going to find out a little bit how later. But right now, we've gotten to the rapid fire question section, fun pop culture, food section of the Black Motivation broadcast, relatively new. We have 4 questions. We have
All right.
5 seconds. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Timberland or Swiss Beats?
Timberlands.
Hot sauce or ranch?
Ranch. Hot sauce gets in the way.
Ask Merlin or Ask Yoda?
Yoda for sure. That's my man.
Ask Yoda. And then Apple or Android?
Apple in the house.
Apple. Apple in the house. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So when you said Timberlands or Swiss Beats, you
Yep.
automatically went with Timberlands because it's New York. You know what I mean? What
Yeah,
can I say?
hey,
That was an easy choice. That was an easy choice.
Yeah.
Then hot sauce or ranch. You pick ranch, which I totally agree with. And you gave the answer right there. Why? No offense to those hot sauce lovers out there, right? But ranch.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love watching the show where they eat the hot wings and get hotter and hotter. It's good to
Yes.
see, but I would never do it.
Right. Right. And then we said ask Merlin or Yoda. Why did you pick Yoda?
Yoda, I'm a Star Wars fan. Old school. Yeah, that's it. Old school
Yeah.
Star Wars. That's it.
Let's go Star Wars. And then we said Apple or Android. The choice is obvious to me. But what did you choose, Apple or Android?
I was an Android guy, and I realized every year I had to get a new phone because the memory ran out. But then I found out about Apple's memory, and I
Yeah.
haven't had to buy an Apple phone for memory for who knows how long now.
Right.
Yeah, and
There we go.
it's just better value for me.
Yes, for sure. I
And
totally agree.
and I gotta add, all the apps that I can put on my phone that help me in my business is
Mm.
amazing, amazing.
So talk a little bit about that. What are some of the apps that you use? Your favorite apps? Top two favorite apps?
Let's see. Top two are Google Docs and
Yeah.
just in general my files
Okay. I'm
and
right there
Dropbox.
with you.
Yeah,
And Dropbox. Yes.
so I can go to any platform and access my files. That's
Mhm.
really great to me.
For sure, for sure. That's so important. And so, unfortunately, though, we reached the end of this week's episode. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We just have two more questions for you, one to support
Sure.
you, and one to support our audience. So, what words of motivation would you like to leave our audience with on this week, your special episode?
All right. Again, I certainly want to thank you for having me today. This has been great. Two things. One, get a mentor. There are people out here, and I'm one of them, that enjoy helping people make it. Okay. I'm one of them. As I had a trucking business, anyone that wanted to get in the trucking business, I was ready to help. I mean, side by side as far as they wanted to go. But have a
Mhm.
mentor. That's key. Someone that has done what you're trying to do. You can avoid a lot of pitfalls. And the other part is keep going. Keep going.
Yes,
Stick to it because it's yours. No one is going to do it like you can do it. So it's yours and stick to it.
there we go. Stick to it because it is yours. Your
Yeah,
baby, you own it.
that's it. No one
Do it.
treats your baby like you.
Nobody.
Nobody.
And so, how can we find, support, follow you, and purchase one of your watches on social media and the web?
All right. So you can find me on Instagram at Harlem Watch Company. And we have a website, harlemwatchcompany.com. And let me tell you that if you subscribe to our email list on our website, there's a 10% discount offer waiting for you right away. So on our website, you can find everything we do. I have a founder's journey page if you want to learn more about my story and what I'm doing, how I'm doing. And also, it'll be really great for you to subscribe now because I'm going to put a question out to the audience. We've been getting requests for t-shirts and I've finalized a couple designs. So I'm going to ask my audience, which one should we go with? And whatever they
Hey,
decide is the way we're going to go.
so exciting. So, you definitely want to sign up for that newsletter. You definitely want to check out that website so you can be a part of the conversation that will come to fruition in a t shirt design. Definitely want
Yes.
to check that out. We're going to drop those links in the comments. I want to thank everyone for joining us. This has been an awesome, awesome episode of the Black Motivation Broadcast. Y'all, we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.